Dear brothers and sisters, as things grow, and the mission has grown tremendously in the last few years, some myths start to happen too. Because some will say, I heard this, and I heard this, and I heard this. So questions is a good way of straightening that part out. Because whenever we say, I heard this from someone, then you have to be careful whether you believe it or not. Hearing something is one thing, and we can hear a lot of things, especially in this day and age where we live in an age where information can come to us from any direction. Doesn't mean that all the information that we read about or hear about or see is correct. And so we need to be very careful as to what information is it that we want to use ourselves. And so, as the old going says, when you get a chance to hear directly from some source that you think is reliable, or find out from someone who is an expert in a certain area, that you know for sure, then you know that is correct. So I think question and answer is a good way of be able to deal with some of these very delicate questions too. Because we do get very interesting questions and delicate questions, and we try to address them so that we can use the knowledge that we gain to be able to deal with different aspects of our life. So let's see what the questions are this week, and let's hope that they're interesting.
What advice do you have for young adults and their parents on choosing a career that will work for them?
I think a lot of children, as they pass high school or they're going into college or in life too, as we are trying to see what areas should we go in, many of us who are parents try to guide our children in an area which we think would be good. Now, over the years, the fields which were very prevalent have been medical field, engineering field, accounting, law, IT. These are the areas where most people feel that as the children go into those areas, that they're going to do well. What is very important is to realize that parents are trying to do their very best for their children. All parents want their children to do better than them. So if a parent only graduated from high school, then they want their children to at least get a bachelor's degree. If the parents got a bachelor's degree, they want their kids to get some master's or a PhD. All parents want their children to have a better life than they had. And so they try to use the experience that they have to be able to put towards the fields that they think would be good for them. And then what generally happens in life is that the parents have experiences when they were at that age too. Let's say 19, 20, 18, 17, 16, when you're passing high school and going to college. But times change between the times of the parents at that age and the times of the children at that age. Maybe 25 years or something like that has gone over. Yeah. And so things have changed in the meantime. The things which were important then maybe are not as important, or many more openings have come up today. I think especially if you look in the education field, there are many, many more areas open today than there were at that time. When I was going to school in India, there was a 5-year planning program that the Indian government had set up, which was more focused into engineering. So all the parents want their kids to go into engineering before and then into medicine at that time, because they felt the country is growing, they need engineers, there's building going to be going on, and so there's a lot of emphasis. So most parents were wanting their children to go there. A few years later, the emphasis came into the medical field, and many parents were trying to gear the kids into that field. Then came the IT boom, and many parents are putting their kids in that direction. Today, I think there are so many other fields in the field of art and then psychology and all kinds of other things have opened up. There's so many other fields out there today, that if you are well in what you do, you're going to be successful. So I think the key is that as a person who has to decide the field that they want to go into, that person needs to understand what all is available, and through the testings that go on, find out what are the areas that they are good at and what is going to make them happy. Then you need to sit down very lovingly with your family members and talk to them very nicely without anyone getting angry or from either side. So you need to agree to disagree lovingly, yeah, beforehand. Because otherwise what happens is when you sit down and the parents say, no, we know it all, this is what you're going to do, right? And if a child doesn't feel they'll be happy in that direction, then the child has to nicely give reasons and bring out their whole, whatever they've researched, and bring it up to the parents in a loving manner. So that the conversation should be loving and caring, because there are going to be many disagreements in the process, but there's no anger should come in. And it should not be that one should try to force an effort. As parents, we have one point of view. As children, we have another point of view. And this is not only about just studies, but about other things too, of what happens in life. And so as parents, the parents have a lot more experience. So through experience, they want to bring things to the children. But we're living in a very different society than we were like 50 years ago, or 25 years ago. And so the children are pretty knowledgeable too, because there's a lot of information coming to them. Not that all the information that they have is correct. Okay? And so then many times, a little confrontation happens in every family, where the children are thinking one way and the parents are thinking other way. So the key is that we as parents need to be resilient and be open to new ideas. You know, as a human being, it is very difficult for us to change. Any change is difficult in our lives. Okay? So we don't want to rock the boat, we want the boat to keep on going. And so whatever we've done over the years, we say, oh, this is good, and let me just keep on doing this. If there's a little change, whatever change it is, it becomes a little difficult to deal with that change. You know, we as parents have a fixed notion in our heads of doing things. We've been doing it many years. The children come up with something new, right? So as soon as it looks different, all of a sudden say, it has to be wrong. But we need to be resilient, and we need to understand that new things will happen. New things are not bad. They may be good for us. We just need to take the time to understand them. Now, not all new things are good. Okay? And children also need to understand that the parents are always looking for the best for them. Our family members want the best for our children and our parents and our siblings. And so we want to do the very best for them. And so I think from both sides we need to be like looking at things carefully. Many times it makes sense to write things down and say, these are the pros and these are the cons. And then answers start to come to us. But not be in anger, which generally happens when you have shortage of time. When you don't have the time, you need to make decisions quickly, then anger comes into play, because then we say, I need to do this. Why someone's asking me to do this at this time? I'm focused on doing this thing this time. And so many a times we don't take the time to be able to solve these situations. But if we would sit lovingly, and if as a child who's trying to go for a career like this question was, I think today you can be a musician, you can be, a therapist, you can do all kinds of different things. And he could be an animation designer or something. There's so many new fields that are out there. The key is you need to be really good in whatever field you go. You need to put in an effort, you need to learn, you need to be really good. If you're good in whatever field you're in, you'll be successful. And so if you sit down in an amicable manner and go for a decision, then I think you'll get to the right decision.
Can we be affected by someone's evil eye?
The Hindi word nazar lagna, or an evil eye, is like a myth that has come as a superstition in many, many traditions. When things are not working as we think they should, and we think like things are going wrong, we have to blame someone, so we can't blame ourselves. Right? I mean, we're not doing anything wrong. How can we blame ourselves? So we blame someone else. They said, this person, they looked at me like that, man. It's an evil eye that they put on me. These are all myths. No one can affect us by their looks or even by their thoughts. Even though the thoughts are potent and there are vibrations with the thoughts, but unless those thoughts get into words and deeds, physically, no harm can come to us. Okay? So to think that this person is thinking bad about me, or this person did something on me, or this person looked at me in a certain way, is our own weakness. Those of us who are initiated, and no evil can come to us anyway. Okay? Doesn't mean that we will not be going through ups and downs of life. There are bound to be ups and downs in life. We have 75% of our life which is preordained, which is based on our pralapt karma, which is a part of the sanchit karma, which we have to play out in this lifetime. So 75% of what happens in our life is coming from the past already. Now we are unfortunately not aware of it, so we don't know why we are going through the difficulty, but we don't realize it's a payment that we might have to do of something that we did wrong previously. See, this path is a path of positive mysticism, and this path is asking us to do our very best. God is taking care of each and every one of us. Okay? And so there are times that things will happen because of what has happened before in our past lives, or what has happened before in this lifetime too. We might be held accountable for. So the key is to understand that we should do our very best to deal with every situation that we find ourselves in. And this 4 words, this too shall pass, is a good remembrance that we'll be able to cross those areas. So superstitions do happen in all traditions. Like there's all this superstition, don't go under a ladder, and there's all this tradition also, if a cat crosses you, then that's bad. In different traditions, we have all these different superstitions. So we need to recognize that those are superstitions. Now, if once in a while we go under a ladder and the ladder falls on us because we didn't check out properly if the ladder is good, that's our shortcoming, But it's not that every time there's a ladder we can't go under it or something. So you have to think of ways and means. You don't bring trouble to yourself, but you need to be also strong in your own beliefs that all the right things are happening with you. As a person, we should know that everything that is right for us is happening. If we are going through a painful experience, it's maybe some of our karma needs to be played out. Sometimes it's played out in a long period. Sometimes we might just fall down and have a little cut, and it's a short time karma payoff. Otherwise, it might have been much longer for us to go through a difficult stage. So there are times when difficult things happen. We need to take them in stride. We need to keep on going forward and know that everything that is right is happening for us, and we need to deal with life like that. So we should not worry about that someone else can do something to us, because we are coming with our own karma, we have our own free will, and whatever happens to us is because of us and not because of others. It's a human tendency. Psychologically we feel better when we blame someone else. But we need to understand that each and every one of us is accountable for what we ourselves have either done in our past lives or are doing today.
What does it mean to live in the current moment?
I think there's a lot of talk about living in the current moment, and sometimes we don't understand it as well as we should understand what it really means. Okay? Um, our path is a path of positive mysticism, and our path is not a path of asceticism where you would leave your families, you would leave your society, you would go and just to the mountains or live by yourself and spend all your time in meditation. But our path is a path of positive mysticism, where a path is telling us that we have been sent here in this human body. Our real existence is at the level of our soul. So we've been sent here to take care of our past karma so that we can get to the state of no karma, where all the karma which is associated with our soul is wiped out. And so this opportunity in the human body is an opportunity in which we can pass this lifetime by taking care of what has happened in the past to us so that we can attain the state of what we can know karma, where no karma would be associated with us. So our path is saying at initiation the big amount of karma is wiped out. On a daily basis as we meditate, then the karma that we're creating on a day-to-day basis is wiped out. So at the end of our life, we can get to a state where all of our karma is wiped out, and that's why we're asked to do Simran at that time, so that no thoughts come to us, so that we can get off the wheel of transmigration. So our path is telling us we live in a family, we have our obligations, we need to take care of them. So living in the current moment means that we don't take this moment and we worry about what has happened in the past, and generally we only worry about that which we thought was not good for us. Or we feel someone did something bad to us and we can't forget that and we keep on remembering that today, or what might have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe last week. So this moment is gone in worrying. We also many times worry about the future. Especially as we're aging, we start to worry more. Will our children take care of us? What happens if I get sick? What happens if my wife or husband dies? What happens if I lose my job? Will I have enough money for retirement? So we worry about the future, right? So our path is saying, don't worry. Be happy. Okay? So what is being happy? All the pictures that you take with your loved ones, you have a baby in the house, you want to remember that. Because years later when you look at them, it gives you joy. It makes you happy. You are grateful to God to give you those happy moments. So those moments that you spend in recording them, there's nothing wrong with them. Because we feel that when we go back a few years later and look at those things that we have collected, that is giving us happiness, it's making us happy, it's making us joyous, we are smiling more, we're laughing more, we are bringing more joy into the life of everyone else also. So it doesn't mean that that time has been wasted, because then that time is, you are also thinking about gratitude to God that you had those good times. And it keeps you happy, and when you're happy and joyous, then you will do good things for others also. So I think recording some of these activities which are joyous, which are, with our family members, with our friends, that we want to reflect on later, or people write journals. People don't write journals just like when after the day someone else will read them. They want to go back and read them themselves and say, hey, this thing good happened to me. I want to focus on that. We don't want to focus on that which is bringing us pain, but if something brings us joy, I think that's good for us to track and to look at later on. So using the current moment, if we understand correctly, means let's not spend the current moment in worrying. Don't worry about what has happened. Don't worry about what will happen. But if the current moment is spent in being joyous and being happy and being grateful to God for the gifts that we have, then that's all okay. So it's really nice to be spending time here today. And let's meditate, because there's nothing better than meditation. It calms us down, it makes us peaceful, it makes the life of others in our family better, because we're not going to be, bringing trouble to them. And so it's all good, good, good. So let's meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight. Focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of beyond, please do your Simran. Those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition should be done mentally and not out loud. With time, in front of you, light will spout forth, and many, many other vistas might be opening up for you. So I pray to God Almighty, and my prayers also to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayal Prasanna Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us here connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light in its effulgence. I will be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off.